It's a little bit of an anxious personality. Attention, dates people, or people that, I don't know, work with dates. Anyway, childbirth with no pain at all. Voodoo, or like you're sprinkling magic around.
Superhuman uterus.
You want it, you got it. Here are 3 more things I would do to prepare for childbirth. You saw the first 3, now you want more things that I would do as a labor and delivery nurse to prepare for childbirth. So the next thing on my list is to collect colostrum while I am still pregnant. And not because collecting colostrum will like make your labor shorter or less painful. I would want to collect colostrum before baby was born as part of my birth prep so that I know once baby is here, I don't have to stress at all thinking like, is my baby getting enough milk? Because for my personality, which I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit of an anxious personality, I really stressed about this. And so as I was preparing for childbirth, I would want to know that I was doing everything I could to try to set myself up for breastfeeding success and to set myself up for confidence and a positive experience moving into the postpartum period. Also cool, parents who did colostrum collection during pregnancy, they reported feeling empowered and more confident moving into their childbirth and postpartum journeys because the more that they did hand expression, the more colostrum they were able to produce, and they felt like, yeah, I'm going to be able to do this. So it's a bit of a stepping stone towards a positive birth experience. And while I am not currently pregnant, moving into a birth experience, I have had 4 of my own. My name is Tina. I am a certified breastfeeding specialist and a certified perinatal nurse. I've been doing this a long time. So if you are new here, thank you so much for taking interest in being here with us. If you are not new here, I am so appreciative of you coming back and spending more time with us. So consider subscribing while we move on to the next thing on the list. I would prepare my uterus and my cervix for birth before labor started. Now, there are a lot of people out there who think these next couple of things are like voodoo or like you're sprinkling magic around. Now, there are studies to support these things to prepare your body for birth. However, the studies, they aren't really big. They aren't really strong studies. A lot of this is anecdotal evidence. However, both of these come with very little risk, if any risk. So if it were me, I would definitely be putting dates and red raspberry leaf tea on my list of ways to prepare. So let's chat about both. We do have some information on dates and pregnancy and how it affects the labor process. Unfortunately, the information, it is from small trials and it is far from flawed. So what we really need here, attention, dates people, or people that, I don't know, work with dates. Anyway, we need randomized control trials so we can really have solid information to go off of. What we do have in info, it is telling us that consuming dates in later pregnancy can possibly shorten that labor process, and it can also decrease the chances that you might need oxytocin in your labor to either start things up or to sort of move things along if it has slowed down. But imagine how cool it would be if we had that solid information locked in and telling us that a superfruit like a date could really help you in your labor process. Like, that'd be pretty awesome. But, you know, dates. Now, if none of that is true and you like the taste of dates, I mean, these things, they are packed with vitamins and nutrients and folate and fiber, and it's all sort of packed into a little compact little fruit, which is great in late pregnancy because, I mean, let's be real here, eating big meals is usually not really an option anymore. So if you like it, it is a great super fruit. There are some situations where dates may not be recommended, and this is why I say this all the time. It's important to talk to your own provider, your OBGYN, or your family doctor, or your midwife before starting anything new, including dates, because it might not be for you after all. I would also try to prep my uterus for labor. Now, this is not done with dates. This is done with something called red raspberry leaf tea. Not raspberry tea, very different. Red raspberry leaf tea. Now, this is thought to sort of tone up or strengthen your uterus to get it ready for contractions, making it more efficient at uterine contractions. And if you have more efficient contractions, this has the possibility of shortening the stage of labor where you are pushing your baby out. But again, there's not great solid evidence on this. What we need here are more randomized control trials to say, yep, red raspberry leaf tea, it is a home run. If you drink it, you will have a smoother, shorter labor. But we don't have that yet. In the end, what we have is a tea with a possibility of making your uterus more toned and ready for labor, making your labor more efficient. Also keep in mind, yes, this is just a tea. However, still important for you to talk to your own provider before starting to drink red raspberry leaf tea in later pregnancy. Because just like dates, there are certain situations and certain people people in certain circumstances where this might not be recommended. So keep them in the loop. Also keep in mind, causation and correlation, they are two different things. And because we don't have that strong evidence on either dates or red raspberry leaf tea, you got to keep that in mind. Like, just because your friend Sarah, she ate all of the dates and she was like already 6 centimeters when she went into labor, that doesn't mean that you might eat all of the dates, but then by 41 weeks, you might still be closed and have a rock solid hard cervix. Same with the red raspberry leaf tea. Maybe your great Aunt Sally, she drank that tea and then she went to the hospital, pushed twice, and had a baby. That does not mean that you are going to drink all of the tea. You're going to head into the hospital and you two are going to have a
superhuman uterus.
It's just going to, crack your kid out just like that. So please keep that in mind, chat with your provider, and then consider adding that to your prep work if it sounds like something you like. And finally, I would practice whatever coping mechanisms I was planning on using for childbirth well ahead of the point where my labor started. And this is because I really see more success with people who have practiced their techniques and the things that they align with before labor starts. It sort of kicks that muscle memory into effect so that when things really get hairy, your body sort of knows what to do because you have practiced and practiced and practiced. Sort of like a marathon. You can't just hop up to the starting line and run a marathon without any training. Well, I mean, like you can, but it's probably not really going to go that well for you. And I find people will have these coping techniques and these pain control mechanisms that they do want to use, and they find it super easy when they are at home and it is controlled and they are not actually in labor. And they do it a couple times. They're like, yeah, that feels good. That's what I'm going to do. But then labor starts, contraction starts, big active labor surges are coming. You're going into transition. Maybe you're vomiting. Now you need to be able to really rely on those things that you have practiced to get you through it. It's very different at home in control and then wherever you are giving birth in labor. There's actually a ton of tools that you can utilize during childbirth to cope with pain. I'm going to link a video up top. It's got a whole bunch of them in there. But really what it boils down to is finding what you really resonate with and then leaning into that. Because what I'm going to do for my childbirth experience, it's going to vary greatly from what you are going to choose to do for your childbirth journey. And this is an important part. I know that epidurals, they are very, very commonly used, but I really strongly encourage you, and what I would do for my labor prep, speaking from personal experience, is that even if I plan to get an epidural, I would still find something that really resonated with me and practice that as a coping mechanism for pain. And even though you're getting an epidural, people don't realize sometimes those epidurals, they don't work as well as you would like them to. Or maybe your labor progresses really, really quickly and your epidural can't keep up. That's me. That was me right there. Or maybe your site doesn't have an anesthesiologist there in-house and they have to come from off-site. That's going to take them some time to get there. Maybe the anesthesiologist can't get there in time. Maybe they're tied up in an emergency C-section and can't leave the OR. There's lots of things that can happen, unfortunately, even if you want an epidural and you were planning on having a childbirth with no pain at all. Sometimes it changes. So really important to have something in your toolbox that is well practiced. It's going to work better. It's going to work harder for you if you have that muscle memory and you've practiced what you need. On that note, tell us what you did do to cope with pain during childbirth. If you missed the first installment of this, the first 3 things I would do to prep for childbirth if I had another baby, it's going to be right there for you. I love that you're here. Please consider subscribing. And as always, be happy, stay healthy, have fun. Bye.